Hey everyone, it's Demon0981 here, and today I've got something new that's been kind of on the back burner for a very long time. Now, who of us have not seen anything from Disney or Pixar or in their lifetime? In fact, who hasn't grown up with watching Pixar or Disney at some point in their life? The bottom line is, while Disney is supposed to be the happiest place on earth, it also has some of the darkest villains that's ever to have been created for the silver screen, or for TV, or straight into video. Oh, which is why I've comprised a list of the top 30 the darkest animated villains from Disney and Pixar. Now, as the title of this list suggests, this is mainly animated villains, meaning you won't see anything from live action Disney shows or movies. So I'm not going to include the live action adaptations of certain Disney films. I am also not going to go over live action Disney shows. And there will be some villains on this list that will make you question why I put them on a dark Disney list. I will explain some of them as the time goes by. But to start things off, let's go with a couple of honorable mentions just before we get to the big stuff. For my first honorable mention, we have Water from Monsters Inc. Now, you're probably wondering why I consider Water to be a dark Disney Pixar villain. Well, as you'll see later on in this list, there is going to be a slight theme going on with certain villains, where they appear to be the supporting character, or kind of a supporting protagonist, or somewhat, and you can actually like at first, until later down the road when you discover their true intentions. Water is exactly like that. In case you have never seen Monsters Inc., it's basically about this company in Monstropolis, which is like an alternate world where all the monsters that come out of your closet at night, they happen to live. Their power source being in the screams of children. However, sometime down the road, Warness has discovered that children are becoming harder to scare, and I don't blame them. Nowadays, it takes a lot to scare a kid. And on the sideline, and he's had one of his second best scarers, Randall Boggs, pretty much either a chief is placed in the top, or pretty much abduct a kid and from their home, and forcefully they vacuum out the screen. Which can be very dark when you put it that way. That Warner is encouraging the abduction of children and basically harvesting their screams by force. I wonder how we would do if there ever was an actual power shortage. The next honorable mention goes to Doris from Meet the Robinson. This movie's not really talked about a whole lot, and I'll admit I don't remember much of it, except for a few moments into the film. But it's Doris I consider to be a dark villain, even though it's just a sentient and helper hat. It's basically because of the fact that it manipulates like the villain. The real villain in the movie is Bowler Hat Guy into basically ruining Lewis's life and thus ruining the future. And unlike most villains, this thing actually manages to succeed in its work by turning everybody in the world into mindless zombies. Not like the kind of you see in The Walking Dead, but slave zombies, I guess, would be a more appropriate term. And all it takes, thanks for us to defeat this thing, just to declare, I'm never going to create you. Now, for my third and final honorable mention, I was going to put this guy actually on the list, but he's more comedic than he is dark. And that is Captain Hook from Peter Pan and Peter Pan 2, Return to Neverland. Now, I consider Captain Hook to be dark because he spends the entirety of his time trying to locate Peter Pan's hideout and pretty much kill him for cutting off his hand. And he'll do the same to anybody who gets in his way. While at the same time, he's trying to avoid the crocodile that devoured his hand a long time ago. On the sequel, it's with a giant octopus. I have no idea why they decided to go with an octopus instead of a crocodile, but whatever. And also, I've seen a video of dark Disney series based surrounding deceased characters. One of them actually kind of threw me out for a loop. So, Captain Hook is possibly hunting mermaids in the Neverland. Something tells me a lot might be going on in Neverland that we don't really know about from the book. Anyway, on to the actual list. Now, keep in mind, I've made this list solely based on how I think villains are dark. Or as you'll find out soon enough. And there might be a tie at one point. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 3 is Evil Emperor Zurg from the straight-to-video pilot of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Now, I actually remember when this series actually came out. Back when and certain Disney cartoons were actually shown on TV. Like Disney's version of Doug, 101 Dalmatians series, Recess, Hercules is the animated series, and even a spin-off of Toy Story. Now, I know what you're all probably thinking. Why on earth am I including in a character that was introduced in the second Toy Story film. At the bottom, or rather on the list. Just at all. Well, to show how Dark Zurg is, let me take you back to the TV pilot. Zurg abducts three little green men, or LGMs, as they put it in the show. In order to find what is known as the Unimind, which is this all-powerful giant spheroid that, with the right kind of influence, can basically change an entire universe's way of thinking. And when Zurg gets his hands on this thing, thanks to Agent Z, he not only corrupts the Unimind, but it's shown in such a dark way. It's almost cringeworthy. And when he finally puts the kind of evil Unimind into good use, or to bad use, as it were, he manages to basically corrupt entire planets. And even Star Command. And as he reveals to Buzz, you will do the same until every planet in the galaxy, or even the universe, is under Zurg's control. Thus, wherever Buzz went, he would be tormented and haunted by Zurg's taunting and evil laughter. Not to mention the fact that this guy is basically a parody of Darth Vader from Star Wars. Incidentally, I'm not including Marvel or Star Wars related villains on this list, seeing as Disney recently got the rights to both franchises. Number 29 is Psych from Oliver and Company. I put Psych next to the list because there are people actually like this in the world, more often than not. And the fact that Psych is going to actually kill a homeless person and over some money, it makes him pretty dark enough. And the fact that he sticks his two Dobermans, or man, unsaid homeless guy, his own dog, makes it even worse. Until later on in the third act of the film, he abducts a rich girl, Owen Oliver, and basically holds him hostage. And to make matters worse for the protagonist, once they break her out, he chases after them in his limousine, even through a subway track, which ultimately leads to not only his dog's demise, but his own, as his car is crashed by a passing train. And by the looks of it plunges into the river, down below. Number 28, The Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. Now, I'm not talking about the Helena Bonham Carter version of the Queen of Hearts, or the Red Queen, and from the live-action Tim Burton version, but rather the animated 1950s version. Or 50s or 70s, I can't remember. Anyway, we don't get to see the Queen of Hearts until the third act of the film, where Alice is lost, and I told you would, and the Cheshire Cat comes by again and to try and help her out. So leading her to the Kingdom of the and Queen. And when we first see the Queen of Hearts, she already looks intimidating enough as is, as she goes toward her painted rose bushes, as we get her rendition of painting the roses red. And one of the three cars that actually started painting the roses, as they're arguing, and she delivers that classic quote, while they're being carried off to the executioner. The Queen loses her temper again, and during in a croquet match when the cat kind of messes with Pepper or Alice, and then again during the trial. So, sorry if I am not very explanatory on this one, but there are moments in the film where I have to wonder, or myself, should I really think about putting this character on the villains list? She doesn't appear until the last 10 minutes. That's of the film. Number 27, Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog. Otherwise known as the Shadow Man and voiced by Keith David. And Facilier is one of these villains that I can't help but like. He's got voodoo magic. His shadow is able to move on his own, its own, kind of like Peter Pan. And not only is that, but he knows quite a lot about certain spells. While at the same time, kind of having fun with it. His first and probably his most notable spell was turning Prince Naveen into a frog, and using the blood he took with his amulet and giving it to Lawrence in order to turn him into the prince, and so that he can marry the princess of Mardi Gras. Once they were wed, and he would use his dark magic to kill Sarah's father in order to gain control over New Orleans. Kind of dark on its own, but when he finds out that the real prince is trying to regain his princely status, he sends his shadows out after him and Tiana, who is also been turned into a frog, by some strange loophole. Well, and I think one of his darkest moments would happen to be when he cold-heartedly kills Ray as a firefly. And he doesn't even care about much of it either. On the bug, goes like this, with his collar and continues walking off. Although I have to mention, his defeat/death is like one of the best ways to be described as being dragged to hell. As after the amulet is shattered, Facilier's friend comes for their payment, which turns out to be him himself. And while he tries to get away, his friends manage to take his shadow and drag it down to the underworld, thus also dragging him as well. And when the smoke clears, all we see is his face frozen in fear or on a tombstone. Now for numbers 25 and 26, I'm putting these in a reverse order because of how dark or the former villain and the latter are less like. At number 26 is Percival C. McLeish from The Rescuers Down Under. Or a sequel to the original Rescuers. This film actually takes place in Australia. Oh, but I admit, I haven't actually liked a lot from what I read about it, especially all the interesting wildlife and mythology surrounding it. But anyway, back to the list. We don't see McLeish until after Cody's dropped off by the eagle I think it's pronounced Amahote or something like that. The giant golden eagle. Oh, and after Cody falls into a pit, and we see McLeish and his pet Joanna arrive, and what I'm assuming is like one of those vehicles you'd see in a Jurassic Park film. Which, by the way, I cannot wait till June. We're winning movie's villain, Percival C. McLeish, who wields a rifle with a scope on it so we can actually see the fear-filled faces of his prey. And to show how dark this guy is he's already killed the male of the two eagles. He's captured numerous other animals earlier or upstream, and there's no telling on how many more are he caught / killed / sold on the black market. To make things even darker, he throws knife into Cody just to see where the eagle's nest would be. He sent his lizard to quote unquote get rid of the eggs. And finally, to draw the eagle out of hiding, uses Cody as live crocodile bait. Before being stopped by one of the mice and facing his demise. That's why being carried down a waterfall. Now for number 25, which is Madame Medusa from The Rescuers. And yes, I'm well aware of the urban legends surrounding that movie. I put Madame Medusa higher up than McLeish for a very good reason. She kidnaps an orphan girl from an orphanage, mentally and emotionally abuses her, uses her as a girl for child labor, or in very dangerous locations, and before she gets drowned. And once she has the devil's eye diamond, points a gun at her henchman Snoop and a little girl, so that they don't follow her. Uh, and after seeing the mice earlier in the film, she fires that rifle off at random angles so that she doesn't know what she's shooting at or where she's shooting it. So there's possible oh, murder intention as well. Now I know three YouTubers have done a list where they said something about Disney and Pixar villains that should have gotten worse than what they did in the end. I'm gonna have to do a list like that on my own in the future. Now for number 24, which is Shere Khan from the Jungle Book and the Jungle Book 2. Now, if you're familiar with the Jungle Book, then you probably know what I'm talking about. Either the live action version or the animated version. Or any version of the Jungle Book. Shere Khan is a tiger that basically hates its humans to the point where if he comes across one, he'll kill him. He's dark to the point where every animal in the jungle knows about him and every animal fears him. It's indicated that Shere Khan may have killed Mowgli's human family, and that he would have nothing more to do but had to kill Mowgli. And the fact that he almost killed Baloo in the end, and it's kind of another way of saying how dark he is. And in the sequel, he threatens the vultures, including one where we don't know what exactly happened to him until the end of the film. Now, for number 23, I know a lot of people are really shocked that I put this particular villain this far down on the list, but on the other hand, this villain doesn't really need to do much to be considered dark. All I need to do is say the name, and everybody knows who I'm talking about. At number 23, it's Chernabog from Fantasia. Boy, where do I begin with this one? Also known as the Devil. Well, Chernabog didn't really have to do much during the night on Bald Mountain to be considered dark. He's basically the devil. But why is he so far down on the list? Well, because he does all of this stuff for fun. And that, he only does it once a year. Or if you don't know what I mean, in the Night on Bald Mountain segment of Fantasia, Chernabog decides to throw himself a little Halloween theme party, where he summons the restless dead, demons, witches, and all sorts of nightmarish things, and for his own amusement. When he makes them dance, and he spoils them, throws them back into the fire, and recreates them again. And until daybreak the following morning. Again, this villain didn't really need to do much because they're dark. He just is. And the fact that he's a villain in one of the Kingdom Hearts games makes it even better. Number 22, Lady Tremaine and from Cinderella. Now, this villain's dark, kind of for the same reason as Madame Medusa. She mentally and psychologically abuses Cinderella, forces her to cook, clean, sew, and everything else for her and her, her herself and the step-sisters. On the night of the ball, she gives Cinderella an impossibly long list of chores to do, with the promise of if she manages to get them all done, and in time she can go. Oh, and when that actually does happen, she throws a curveball by saying that she doesn't have a nice enough dress. So when some birds come up with a new dress idea, which is basically made of unwanted garments and dress scrap from the stepsisters' clothing. Tremaine has them rip it apart or to shreds. Later on, after the ball's done, and she locks Cinderella up in her room from keeping her from seeing the prince, and when that finally comes down to the trial of the shoe, so she intentionally causes the footman in the trip, breaking the glass slipper. I don't know why I use this word, but what a bitch. Speaking of which, at number 21, Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. Now, the darkest thing about this villain is quite simple. Oh, she wants to turn 101 Dalmatian puppies into a fur coat. Oh, she has her henchmen slash cronies Jasper and Horace dog-nap all 15 of Pongo and Pretty's puppies, not to mention about 99 other Dalmatian pups from various locations, and just to complete the order. And when the boy, no, not boys, when the henchman questioned how should they do it, and she said that she doesn't care how they have to do it. She wants the puppies killed. And she lists off some pretty cruel ways for them to do it. Poison and head trauma, ether. Doesn't care how the job's done as long as it's done. And near the end, she shows just how dark she is as she chases as this truck where all 101 dogs are hiding in, and pretty much almost runs that truck off the road, with the driver included. So not only is it intended as murder or on an animal scale, but it's also intended as manslaughter as well. Number 20, the evil queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The first villain, or Disney movie villain, and the evil queen and shows how dark she is automatically by telling her huntsman and take Snow White to pick wildflowers and to cut out her heart and put it in a box. That's for her. When the huntsman, quote unquote, fails to do his job, she decides to take matters into her own hands by turning into an old crone. Oh, and with the help of the poison apple, she manages to succeed in killing Snow White. And almost does the same things with the dwarf, until that his fateful lightning bolt struck the cliffside where she was, and causing her and the boulder to fall. Number 19. Zira from The Lion King to Simba's Pride. Now, I would put Zira higher up on the list, just along with Scar on this one, but she's not as dark as Scar is. And she proves how dark she is during singing her song My Lullaby, where she describes that even though she's tried to forget ebbing her flows and forgetting the past, the truth of the matter is she can't let go of the past. She would rather go to war than and just forget about what happened. Not to mention that she blames all of her own pride problems on Simba over the death of Scar. Although technically Simba didn't kill Scar, that would be the hyenas. And for years, she basically trained Kovu to hate Simba and his pride. And when Kovu's accepted as the Pride Rock, she sets up an ambush for Simba where things kind of go wrong and Kovu's brother gets killed when a bunch of logs fall all on him. In rage for the death of her oldest son, she turns on Kovu, slashing him in the face, giving him a scar similar to a certain villain on this list. Now, there is a bit of a theory on what went down during her defeat scene, but I'll leave that up for debate. At number 18, it's our tie between Gaston from Beauty and the Beast and Clayton from Tarzan. Now, I put both of these villains at number 18 because they share something in common with water nymphs. So they're villains that, while at first might appear to be a bit of a jerk in a way, but are somewhat likable. Until later on in the film, you see their true intentions. Gaston's true intention: do whatever he can do in order to marry Belle, even going as far as sending her father to the insane asylum, and then getting the entire townspeople all into a riot just to kill the beast, whom he's never met before. While with Clayton, his main goal is find the gorillas, capture them, bring him back to Britain and sell him on the black market. Now, with Gaston's defeat, I feel like while he was fighting against the beast, he's, he's given an opportunity uh, to just save face and to run. But instead, literally stabbed his adversary in the back before being flung or shoved off of the beast's back, plummeting him from down below. And little note, it's indicated that in one little frame of animation where the animators decided to put a skull and crossbones in Clayton's pupil, to signify, yeah, he's not coming back. While in Tarzan, Clayton's ultimate defeat is in the treetops against Tarzan, and where Clayton tries to shoot Tarzan, kind of succeeds, and by injuring him a bit. And while Tarzan points his gun at it, and Clayton points Clayton's gun at it. Now even pulling the trigger, showing that he means business, makes the sound of the rifle being shot and smashing things said gun to pieces. And Clayton pulls a machete and starts swiping away at him. Before Tarzan manages to ensnare him and bind. This causes Clayton and go even more psychotic, as now with murderous intent, starts slashing away at every vine and around him, except for the one surrounding itself around his neck. Which leads him to one of the darkest Disney stage deaths I have ever seen. Now, for number 17, Hades from Hercules. Quite different than the original Greek myth. Hades is dark, kind of on the same level as Captain Hook, but almost succeeds in what he has to do. To show how dark he is, he arrives at Hercules' party, uninvited, and intent as to put a spiked sucker, or a lollipop, whichever one you want to call it, into the little baby Herc's mouth before his finger or his crutch touched. His stated plan, however, is that he wants to overthrow his brother Zeus in order to be a king of Olympus, due to the fact that he's completely bored of his job as ruler of the underworld. And when he hears that when Hercules steps forward to fight against the Titans, he'll lose. Lose his chance. He comes up with a genius plan. And basically turn Hercules from an immortal to just a mortal. And I have a little question to ask. If Hades had this little potion and the entire time, and why couldn't he use it on the other guy? Let's make them mortal as well. Oh, if he had all of this in mind. And while all of this goes on, and for the next 18 or 17 years, I can't remember which one it was, Steve has been building up this opportunity to take over Olympus. And when he realizes that Hercules is still alive, he sets an entire section of forest on fire. Here, he attacks Abyssinians 10 and 10 at various times, especially during the Hydra scene, and where he delights in seeing and Hercules get the cruelty out of him by a monster that is able only regenerate head faster than Deadpool. All can regenerate in his hand. And during the song montage, Zero the Hero, it's shown that he sent monster after monster after natural disaster after monster, or after Hercules, to try and stop him or kill him at least. But he realizes that nothing he's throwing at the hero is working. He decides to use a very dark and twisted tactic. Find out what makes him tick. In other words, what makes him weak. Turns out, use Megaron to beat Hercules' Achilles heel. And after making that deal with the devil, Hercules was made completely normal by Hades, while the god had released the Titans on Olympus. After Hades is defeated on Olympus, he makes another deal with Hercules later on that if he can get Meg's soul out of the river Styx, come back alive, if they're both free to go. Or something like that. Now, Hercules, the animated series, is a very dark moment, all involving Hades. But that's for a different date. Now, number 16, 15, 14, actually quite a lot of them coming up, are all from Pixar or film. Starting with number 16, Lotso Hugging Bear from Toy Story 3. Again, another villain that at first doesn't look like your normal, act like or look like your normal villain. In fact, Lotso is the most welcoming villain of all of these characters. When these toys are accidentally brought to the daycare where Lotso happens to be in, they are welcomed by the teddy bear with open arms. But later on, it's revealed that Lotso doesn't want anybody to leave. Let me see if I can don't remember what's the daycare are called. Sunnyside, there we are. That no toy leaves Sunnyside. And to go back and to our owner. And it's revealed that Lotso was basically turned Sunnyside Daycare into somewhat of a prison camp. Sounds like a certain villain in history. This means that Lotso is another villain that has certain agendas. There's another bad guy. If you don't know what I mean, stick with me for number 4. And how can this villain be so dark, you might wonder? Well, I guess it'll start and when Matto is accidentally left behind by his owner, along with a baby doll and a clown toy. And when he finds out that he's been replaced by another Matto bear, as a clown, Mr. Chuckle explains, something snapped inside in a Matto, twisting him into the corrupt dictator he is now. But it doesn't end there. His darkest moment ever was during the junkyard moment, or junkyard scene, where the toys are going and down the belt towards the incinerator. And after Buzz and Woody managed to save Lotso from the shredder, you'd think he'd return the favor by saving them from the incinerator. Well, Lotso just gives them this cold, old-eyed smile, basically saying, you know what, I could save you, I would save you, but I ain't gonna. And please. Now for number 15. And boy, this villain has a lot of dark intention. Actually, I'm going to leave this one for my second part. So join me next time as I go over the top 15 darkest Disney Pixar animated villains. Until then, this is Demon 091 and saying goodbye.